Hey, Jenny,
Hey, Greg.
you want to make a podcast?
Yeah, let's do it.
When everyone's talking about the same thing online, do you ever think, I think that was manufactured?
No.
Do you think that's just happening in culture and it's something that
Yeah.
you're catching up on, everyone
Yeah.
else knows about?
Yeah. I literally, even knowing what I know about public relations and how it works and kind of the underbelly of it, I'm still always going to see something and assume that enough actual live humans interacted with it that it's now in my feed.
So this week we're going to talk about the strange or shady kind of underbelly of what more people are learning about is happening just in natural digital marketing, and also some literal shady stuff that's happening with companies that are doing something called clipping, and then incentivizing people to post and share those clips for music, SNL, Justin Bieber, podcasts, all that sort of thing. Does that sound like a good topic for this
Sounds
week?
great.
So there's an article in New York Magazine called "The Feed is Fake." That viral song, meme, influencer, and celebrity drama was probably the product of a stealth marketing campaign by Lane Brown. And this is not the first of this kind of revelation around clipping. There was a really good article in The Atlantic. There was coverage in Forbes and Marketing Brew about clipping. And at first I was like, well, yeah, people are consuming content by clips, right? That's what
Yeah.
we see when we scroll.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
And
I consume New Heights solely through clips. So
Oh,
I do that for sure.
and that's wonderful given your shirt, which says
Oh yeah.
"Go Taylor Swift's boyfriend's brother."
Yeah,
So
that's true.
so-
That's true. I'm on brand.
So
right?
hey New Heights, sponsor us, you
No,
cowards.
no, they're good. Don't
Sponsor
talk to
us.
them directly. Don't look at the sun. I don't.
So
fine.
this isn't just a story about like influencers or social media marketers like me just doing
Right.
their jobs well.
Right.
So I want to read a clip from the article. I want to read a clip about clipping
Oh,
from the New York
this
Magazine
is
article.
so meta, Greg.
Most people now encounter the world through algorithmic feeds built to warp reality on platforms, with every commercial incentive to keep users scrolling and very little incentive to distinguish genuine interest from astroturfed imitations. Into those feeds flows an unprecedented amount of undisclosed advertising engineered to resemble the improvised enthusiasm of human strangers. The platforms reward it with reach. Traditional media picks it up and validates it. Meanwhile, as trust in journalism collapses and most of the actual reporting disappears behind paywalls, readers head straight for the comment sections, which seem more like the voice of people than anything written by a reporter, except many of those commenters may not be people at all. Dun dun dun.
There's a lot in that little paragraph that
There
is like
is.
very interesting.
And it's New York Magazine too, so it's well written. It's
Yeah,
meaty.
yeah, and it's also traditional print media, right? So that's a more traditional journalist. I would argue my first gut reaction is what constitutes a reporter, because a lot of, especially with politics being in the state that it is right now, a lot of, I think that people would call them influencers, but they're actually reporters. They're journalists,
They're
right?
what was a reporter before, if not an influential person who was sort of a curator or gatekeeper of
Right.
content.
Right. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, in the structure of today's media landscape, a lot of people have, and due to the kind of politification of a lot of the major news networks, people have removed their spend, their attention economy from the main traditional journalistic pursuits, right? They don't wear press badges, for everyone to see. It's a very different media landscape. And so that argument that is in that says, journalism is dead or whatever, like,
I think I know what you mean. I think that what they're saying is because there are fewer vetted, authoritative sources that we just trust,
Yep.
whether that trust was well founded or not before.
right.
Now, the lens towards clipping, which I will define in a second, is a little more is more powerful than ever before.
Gotcha.
So a clip is just a short form piece of content that's taken from a longer form piece of content. So some of our listeners are consuming our podcast via clips right now, and they have no intention of going in and hearing the long form version.
Right.
And that is not a indictment of them. That is how culture is working. You said that's how you're consuming the New Heights podcast. That's how a lot of people even consume long form articles like this one in the New York Magazine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that also can lend itself towards a movie trailer or an interview or a song, a celebrity appearance, a political moment or clip. Mm-hmm. And then that is the part that is shared. And you don't have the context of the whole long form thing. Also with where attention spans were, or maybe attention spans always have, there's always been an opportunity to have a clip, which in college we called Cliff's Notes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think also there is a lot of competition for our time and attention. Yep. And so as much as we talk about social media has pushed us a certain way and social media has done all these things, I would argue that our time is more compressed and we have a lot of options, right? So I don't listen to I just don't have time. So the clipping piece is a way for me to keep up with the narratives that are being created, pushed, whatever, I guess.
I love that you just used the word narrative.
Yeah. So whatever narratives are out there.
Yeah.
I think this discussion, and I use the word narrative very specifically because I think where I'm going to land in this discussion, this idea that social media is changing the narrative, I would argue this is a human condition, whether it's social media or traditional reporting or like your small town gossip queen, like there's a narrative that's going to get pushed. And as humans, we interact with it.
We do. And on social media, because we are primarily consuming video content now, which the platforms would say that's what people want. So that's what the algorithms are giving.
Yeah, that was a really interesting point of this article, right? They were like, but no one actually wanted that. They wanted to sell higher priced ads on the videos. So no one even wanted that. And now we're having this discussion. It was I love that part of the article. I was like, oh, brain freeze, right? No one wanted video either, but Meta did because they wanted higher ad spend.
And then you
and
can
they
sell
did
video
it.
ads on them.
Yep.
Which is, you can't necessarily do that in like a carousel of static content on Instagram that you're swiping through.
Yeah, I would have been interested to see the YouTube push to that too. They didn't name the competition.
Sure, yeah.
But I think Meta tends to, and correct me if I'm wrong because you're the expert, but Meta tends to push that enshittification that you always talk about, right?
Which is where all platforms become all platforms.
Right. So I think everyone with their, YouTube million views trophies and everything, it was a very niche part of the market that I assume Meta was just trying to push into. But
it very much, there's an article in Forbes called "The Creator of Clipping Who Powers Crypto Gambling's Viral Machine." Oh my God. That quotes CEO Evan Spiegel of Snapchat, who says,
who's your favorite?
I have lots of opinions about him. He and I have discussed some of them. He says, before, so many of these platforms' resources were dedicated to engineering, but now I think people are going to be spending much more time on marketing and on distribution, and that's a big shift. So even the platform creators are thinking about how to create and distribute content, which is not new, but when he's saying we're spending less time on engineering and more about sharing content, it is these clips. And I would say, I do believe that young people, when we think about how they're consuming content on social, which we just did an entire episode about, the idea of them scrolling a feed of static photos and liking or sharing or leaving a comment on a photo, when they have grown up in a pandemic metaverse world where they're hanging out with their friends in third worlds like Roblox and Minecraft, and that is what social is for them. Yeah, static images are pretty freaking boring. And so video at least keeps your attention.
Well, if you think about the evolution of technology as a whole, right? And you were talking about those third places, right? Where we create And that gets used a lot by entrepreneurs too to create a new thing. But in your context, you're talking about you have another space to congregate, to get together, to consume content or play with content or play games in this space.
So you would have home and work and the third place, or you would have home and school and the third place. And that third place is a social place. Yeah. So for us growing up, that was maybe the mall.
Yeah.
And so now for these young people that we don't use the word metaverse, but they're metaverse worlds. It's Minecraft and Roblox and Discord.
Yeah. And like kids were gathering at arcades and like, you know, in the 80s, like how many 80s
Party
movies
lines,
are,
right?
You know, all the kids, somebody getting beat up at the arcade. But
so we just talked a lot about clipping as the content itself. But what is being uncovered, because some of the founders of these companies are directly talking about it, is the marketing usage of clipping and using clipping as a marketing strategy. So specifically 2 companies. One is called Floodify, which is a hilarious name. Floodify claims that they operate 65,000 dummy social accounts, and they posted 50,000 videos a day across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and X. That's not a brand posting a few highlight reels. That's not the Cave Project posting some clips of this. That is an attempt to manufacture the feeling of a crowd, to make something seem cool or raise awareness, or as you said, change a narrative around it. That is fake normal people. And this is not just like, oh, these are Russian bots. Like these are specifically designed accounts. They are bot accounts, but designed to manufacture.
Okay,
things.
let's step out for the normals a little bit, because why is this a lucrative business model?
I love this question. So some of this reporting has credited Andrew Tate as inventing this strategy in 2020, 2021.
Okay.
And so from a political perspective, you would want to flood social media by saying someone was stupid or offensive or whatever, right? But from a capitalist perspective, let's go back to the days of payola, where you have a band that you want to make popular and you go to radio stations and you pay them to play them online.
So so I want to be really careful here, because if I'm not following you, like no one else is following you, right? So what's payola? Payola
is where you would pay DJs to play your band on radio to make your band be popular.
Okay.
It's
pay for play.
It's pay for play, but it wasn't disclosed, which is why it was bad. So what's today's version of that?
So is that like under the table, or is that record labels contracting with like KDWB?
Yeah.
Sorry guys,
sometimes it was, but none of that was
sometimes
disclosed.
It was an actual contract, and you're saying no, it's not disclosed to the listeners at the time, so they didn't know. There's no like hashtag ad back in the radio days.
It was a scandal.
Okay, I didn't know about this.
And so the scandal that's coming now is when Justin Bieber performed at Coachella.
Oh, I'm so mad about this. Can I tell you how personally offended I am by that part of the article?
He didn't bring a whole band. He opened YouTube and he played old clips of himself. And what did he do?
It was the most, for me personally, as a squishy human who dabbles in psychology spaces, it felt like a really emotional, grounded, intuitive set where he did not have a band. He had himself and his computer, and he sang with old recordings of himself. It was this really full circle, not produced, which is why this feels so gross to me. No production, no nothing. It was him and a MacBook Pro or whatever he used, right? And just, it was about the core of who he is as an artist and who he's been and how he's come through all these things and all this stuff, right? He brought Billie Eilish up as the girl he sang that, that song that everyone knows about. Anyway, he just did a very bare bones, here I am, this is my music sort of a thing, because he tends to be a lightning rod in media articles, and especially now, this kid has just been through the freaking ringer with the media.
So in this reporting, it says that in some of these Discord groups where there are clipping opportunities for payment, which means share these clips And based on how many thousands of views you get, you will earn dollars. And we should say these types of things in a narrative. Justin Bieber's Coachella set was one of those that was offering those bounties.
But it was really disappointing because I think, again, that was a thing, a really emotional thing that connected not just with Bieber fans, because I'm not a Bieber fan, to be clear. I'm not someone that is a huge fan of his work. I don't have anything against him. I just don't know anything about him. I'm not a fan. But I am a fan of Coachella, and I'm a fan of the way the artists show up there and what they do there to connect with all of us in a different way, right?
And do you know, you and I are actually in the minority of people who think that that was really cool. And,
I do.
And also,
I do.
Is that even true? Or were there other voices incentivizing a narrative that wasn't cool? So there's a strategy where just to create conversation, you would actually incentivize and pay for people to say something sucks also.
Yeah.
And back to this idea of payola, one of the reasons that people are talking a lot about this right now is there's this band called Geese that got incredibly popular. Almost Strokes level fervor about this new album. And it has come out that they were working with a company called Chaotic Good Projects, which is the other company covered in some of this.
It's interesting to me that this was in the, I'm like, I don't know who this is, so it didn't work.
So their name is Chaotic Good. And at South by Southwest, they did multiple interviews about how, we used these tools to do trend simulation. And it's not just to spread content, but it's make people feel like a trend already exists, so you want to join it. And they were almost like, well, yeah, of course we did this. Of course we incentivized this. And the word that has stuck and that I'm seeing in threads is digital psyop, and that the band Geese is a digital psyop. And I will tell you, when my adult coworkers that I was working with, including someone who is 10 years older than me, was like, oh yeah, I'm really digging Geese right now. And I was literally like, how the hell does he know what that is? Like, where did that come from? And also, maybe he has great musical taste. And some of the discourse on threads has been like, do you like the music? Like, do you like it or not? Did you just see a bunch of clips of it and everyone likes it now and you're listening to it?
This is the question, the other thing that I wanted to talk about. This is a microcosm of what groupthink does, right? So what's real? What's not? What did I really like? What do I like just because, am I being a pick-me girl right now? Like that is a phrase that everyone is using ad nauseum, right? Pick-me girl. Well, are we trying to be cool, or are we trying to engage in a fire hose of content? I think about, no matter what social media platform you're on, I have just been really watching my kids do this too, where you're just like, bink, bink, bink. How fast do you go?
It takes a lot to stop that thumb.
It so does. And there's so much of it. And if you think everybody from the Cave Project to Justin Bieber is trying to cut through the noise during a time where Donald Trump is the president and he's doing all this chaotic stuff, right? And politically, there's all this upheaval. Like you know better than anybody, trying to garner a viral moment is impossible, actually.
The Forbes coverage says more than 1 billion short form videos are now posted across all the platforms each day. That is a ridiculous amount of content, and it makes content seem old really fast. Right?
Yeah. And we've talked about this ad nauseum on the podcast.
Yeah.
Just the trends and how they shift and how you have to keep up all the time. Social media really is a reflection of kind of where capitalism sits right now, right? Where you're just always having to evolve. You're like an entrepreneur who just is always having to reiterate. And the influencers are sick of it. Yep. There's no way to game the system. It's run by a very small amount of people. It's hard to even get influence up there. Like, it's hard.
So I want to read an article from Charlie Warzel's piece in The Atlantic that I loved. I shared this in my newsletter a few weeks ago, which is called How Short Form Clips Took Over the Internet. You're not watching the show, you're watching the clips. Mm-hmm. And he says, the clips are the content. That's what people are consuming. That's where they're spending their time. You can't treat this stuff as promotional material anymore. You have to treat it as real content. You have to acknowledge the fact that young kids today, They're not seeing the link that you put on their social media feeds, like, hey, click here to watch the podcast. They're not even doing that. They're only watching the clips. And that's the way they see you. So that means investing a lot more time in and have a lot more thoughtful conversation about, quote, okay, so how do we make sure our content really resonates on these platforms? Whereas recently, I think, especially legacy media, we've kind of been treating that as an afterthought.
Yeah.
And we're even doing that. And our subscribers have probably noticed like a huge uptake in our clips. Great job, Jenny Swan.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we're getting thousands and thousands of views on those clips, but those are not necessarily translating to subscribers. And we're not mad about it because we understand and we're going into that with clear eyes. So when the initial articles about clipping came up, I was like, oh, great. The marketers figured out clipping's a thing.
But the point remains for smaller shops like ours, maybe, it seems insane versus the internet that we knew 10 years ago, that 20,000 views, that doesn't translate to followers. That doesn't translate to anything. That means 20,000 people looked at your stuff on the internet.
We're not rich now. Sorry.
Yeah, it means I got made fun of how I look a lot. That's what that means, basically.
Yeah. Let's just time out a second. Do you want to talk about, should we talk about this at the end? Let's talk about this at the end. So the next section that we're going to talk, so that's what clips are.
Yeah.
And this next section, we are specifically going to talk about Bieber at Coachella, which we already did. But I wanted to bring up another musical artist that was covered in this.
Okay.
That has been part of Clipping Bounties, and his name is Noah Kahan. Have you heard of this guy?
Greg Swan. Did you come to this podcast to hurt my feelings today?
I did not. But I want you to sit in how you're feeling and tell me, how do you feel about finding out that an artist that you really were into?
I think that every artist that I am into is beholden to a record label, who is beholden to its stakeholders as a corporate entity. So they are going to push those clips out. And let me tell you, I want to see every single clip. I want to see every single thing that gorgeous, adorable, sweet, kind, amazing human does, says. I want to see all of it. And I want to see it in 30-second clips, and I will watch them for the rest of my life. Right. I am not mad. I'm mad there's not more.
Why aren't they paying you to share those? That's what I want to know. You share those for free. Did you know you're getting paid for that?
I literally will die if I don't go to this concert. And me acting like this right now is why they're doing it. This is why everyone's doing it. And it's the same reason I watch New Heights and laugh hysterically on these clips over and over again. Like, it's the same thing. You're in essence breaking through the space-time continuum problem that people have and making sure that the things that you love get to the people who love you.
But how do you feel that wasn't through channels that were disclosed? And I'll say, as a social media marketer, anytime we work with creators and influencers, they have to put a hashtag ad on there.
I have to tell you a secret.
Yeah.
I never noticed the hashtag ad anyway.
Okay, so thanks for sharing. It's not a secret. In fact, consumers don't necessarily care at all if it has hashtag ad or has the partner tag if the content matters to them, if they like it.
And I want them to do the right thing. I want them to do the right thing. I want them to disclose it, but I'm not the disclosure police. I wish more people would, because this gives people in my industry a really bad reputation, which, by the way, we didn't have a great reputation before. Yeah,
we didn't have a great reputation.
You guys should smoke some more Marlboros and pull some whiskey out of your desk. Like the Mad Men.
The earliest PR.
Listen.
I am upset that more people aren't upset about clipping, because we spend so much time contracting with creators and influencers to put that hashtag ad in, to use those partner attributions. And when they don't, we don't publish, or we continue to talk to them until they do. And then we amplify that. And that a lot of people don't notice that hashtag ad because they care about the content. But you know what? This clipping shit gives us a really bad reputation. And yet we've had clients asking if we can do things like this. And the answer is no.
So can you stop for a second? Because I don't understand. Because you're mad about clipping, or you're mad that the clipping they're doing isn't disclosed. So what you're saying, the issue isn't the medium. The issue is how the medium is being portrayed. And you're saying because they're putting campaign dollars behind it, it needs to be disclosed as advertising.
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
So when Chaotic Good says, "Oh, this is a new thing we invented called trend manipulation," well, the idea of trying to
that's annoying.
trying to like create a trend or capitalize on a trend is not new at all. But the fact that they are paying thousands of people under the table and then inventing, the other company has invented 50,000 accounts to fake a grassroots effort to AstroTurf does real damage. To marketing.
I agree. So it does, and it doesn't just like marketing, yes, right? Also, it does damage to the social fabric that
100%.
we're literally walking into social media assuming that there are bots, but like the reality is these are American humans that have 50 to 100,000 just dummy accounts, right?
Yeah.
They're contracting with firms, advertising, public relations, social media, whatever, and saying, yeah, I will push this out to
Politicians too.
Politicians like Eric Adams.
So this is where
shout out to
and again,
that guy.
supposedly the start of Andrew Tate.
Yep. Well, and Andrew, the guys like Andrew Tate, I'm not surprised about just because of the nature of how explicit content gets proliferated, not just on the internet, but that's been a problem like since the dawn of man, right? Like explicit things that are more racy and sexual and problematic. Those clips, those things will trend just on the nature of the angry algorithm, right?
We've acknowledged that there's black hat PR things happening in politics for a long time.
What does that mean?
Black hat meaning nefarious, negative things like which we know the Trump administration did in the last 2 elections.
Yeah.
So
and Facebook.
Now, as things are it's more apparent, it's coming back into modern culture. The problem isn't fake content. The problem is fake context, where that really hot music act, are they really hot because they're very talented? Or because that was manufactured.
So can I ask a question about this?
Sure.
So you buy, basically what they're doing is buying likes, right? Or buying
They're
content
posts.
distribution.
They're creating posts.
Okay,
with
so
fake accounts.
They get pushed out through these fake accounts. And then is the idea that the fake accounts are then interacting with the content and so humans can't? And so it's creating fake thing, or is it that's the way to get the humans to see it?
Both. So they're pushing content into the feeds that is also shareable because it's Noah Kahan. It's a Saturday Night Live performance that was really good, and so people then they share it and then they engage on it, and then also the bots are engaging on their own bot content, which the algorithm then rewards, and none of that is disclosed. Which is why it's a problem.
I'm confused about Noah Kahan, though, because Noah Kahan's people are making his clips.
Yes, the content that you're seeing, I believe most of it is authentic and genuine for him. And also there's paid behind it. Like you said, with his record label,
Yeah.
they're doing marketing. And that's great.
So then those people are creating shit stuff.
So we don't know specifically about Noah Kahan, which
I know, but I think the functionality of how this works is really confusing to obviously. I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm like, I don't understand.
And it's confusing on purpose. And I think back to Geese, where we know for a fact that they contracted with Chaotic Good. It has been called a digital psyop to make that band be popular.
Yeah.
And then they are popular. And I have had so you just offended yourself with Noah Kahan. And again, this is the difference between fake content and fake context. Because both Geese and Noah Kahan, or a Saturday Night Live skit with Will Ferrell, like those are good on their own. Those can be good. You can like them or you can not like them.
Right.
But when you have to start to consider, like, was there fake context here where did I only like them because I kept hearing about it over and over again, which, by the way, is the foundation of pop music? Or is it good? And I really like it, or did I never really like it, but I've heard it enough times, which is like, kind of all those other stomp clap bands from the years in the past.
Yeah.
Where you just like, you hear it enough and you sing along with it when you're at the big box store and you're like, all right. And I've been reading this book and it's going really deep on the New York music scene back in the day, and specifically the Strokes and LCD Sound System. And like, they're genre breaking, defining, making culture. The White Stripes coming out, like made culture with a different lens on something and earned that popularity. And I don't think that it's being too like full of myself to be like, I think you should have to earn making culture. I think it should be good. And just the fact that you're really good at marketing doesn't necessarily mean that you get to affect culture. It still has to be a good idea. And I believe me, I know what my day job is, which is like, it is paying attention to culture and helping brands figure out how they can earn the right in culture to do something cool that can impact it in a responsible, above board way.
Is that, I'm going to ask you a really big question.
Go for it.
Is that even the way the world works anymore?
Yes, it is, because I say so.
I mean, I think you're right, but also this is a new paradigm where you don't just do it once. Like, you have to continue to earn. I don't know who the geese are. I don't know. Like,
It's just geese.
But do you know what I'm saying?
No, I know. I love
like,
this.
So like this. They did this big thing, and there was this moment, and like all the marketers, they're personally offended. Yeah. I'm not. I'm like, oh, those guys sound like dicks. Now, I'm probably never going to listen to their music now. But they didn't come back, right? This isn't like an Owl City thing. This is literally just like, it's not in my purview. I'm patient zero. Like, I'm the normal that like has to know these things. If I don't know who you are, like, does it matter? I think it does. Like, just to be clear, I think it really does matter. I think integrity is really, really, really important. But I just mean for you and your marketing friends, maybe that didn't work.
So I love this so much because I do this thing where when I'm really into a new band, I've learned not to go, hey, Jenny, listen to this band because you won't like it. And so what I do is I run a digital psyop on you.
Right.
And I wasn't
going to bring this up. We were going to talk about this post-podcast, but
I will play it in the car quietly every once in a while until I've built it up enough.
Yeah.
And then you like sing along with it. And I'm just like, this is good, isn't it? And you'll
see, also the White Stripes, right? This is how the White Stripes,
which we saw at First Avenue.
We've seen them so many times. Like, every time do you see me smile just saying the band's like,
we live in the Twin Cities.
It is
seeing the White Stripes at First Avenue. So the last part of this is what this does to us and how we stay human in a fake crowd era.
So here's the thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is the point this is my point. I don't think this is that big of a deal. I just don't think, I think the integrity piece is a huge deal, but I think as far as culture making or what people think or whatever, I think this is a constant race to do it again and again and again so that people keep talking about you. And
do you feel like your morals have slipped, that you wouldn't care that people are spending so much money to affect you? Or let me ask a different question.
I think that your assumption is wrong, because I think that people come to social media now assuming the worst. So I think it's not that like my morals have slipped, or really that's hilarious though, by the way, that you would look at your wife and be like, do you think that your morals have slipped? Like, that is funny shit. But
do you really think normal people come to social media skeptical?
Yeah.
The majority of normal people?
Yep.
The Facebook users?
Yep. We assume that people aren't doing the hashtag ad. We assume that the worst is happening. Okay. We assume that, I mean, have you read the comments of anything? This is AI. This is AI. This is AI. Oh, she was paid to do that. Oh, she was paid to, this restaurant meal. Like, we've had influencers in Minneapolis have big blow ups about this very thing. Everyone assumes the worst. Social media is a super negative place to hang out.
Believe me, I've read those comments, and I just feel like that. I think a lot of people are poison pilled where they say that all the time if it doesn't align with their worldview, or they want it to be a red versus blue thing when it's literally like, is it a good omelet or not?
Right.
What was the last thing that you discovered online that you discovered first?
I want to know why you're asking that question.
I think it's tricky, and I think that we're in an in-between time right now where we still remember what it used to be like to discover something online first and in a pure way. And that there will be we're headed towards the moment where because of this sort of like the scenario, the fact that more than 40% of the negative comments about the Cracker Barrel new logo were bots. The outrage about Cracker Barrel's logo wasn't even real. And then they changed their logo back. And so, a lot of what we do at work is trying to help counsel people. Is this real or is this faux outrage? And I think a lot of what we read on Facebook and like you were talking about those restaurant reviews and like, is this AI?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is faux outrage. I think it's just like, it's something to argue about.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that everyone believes that, but I think they will over time. And I think is where you're already at.
Yeah, I think just to be blunt, like I think this is a marketer's problem. This is not a normal's problem.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean it's not a worthwhile pursuit, but I think that we have already, on our end, we've already assumed that the worst is happening. This article was interesting, and we talked about this really a lot when the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni lawsuit came out, right?
That is.
So basically, everyone knows, but I'll just high level. Yeah. Blake Lively did a movie with Justin Baldoni. So there was a lawsuit between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. There was some assertions made. Part of the assertions in the filings were that they had contracted with social media agencies, groups, PR people to construct these campaigns, right? So basically when the movie came out, there was a bunch of drama at the premiere. Then once the drama came front and center, Blake still wasn't talking about it on the internet, but Justin Baldoni's team was already crafting a narrative through kind of the bot army that they unleashed. And all of these filings are public record, and people have done their Freedom of Information Act.
Huge stories written about this.
Huge stories, right? Including what the PR people are saying. We can bury her, right? And all of this stuff. And this is the nature of how people are talking about it. And again, I will say, I think the public was surprised about the language that was used, not that it was happening, right? Like it was a salacious thing, right? But it wasn't like, oh, I'm so shocked. I think the public is hard to shock now. I just do.
Does that make humans less social if you can't trust social?
I think that there has been a big pivot back to community.
Yeah.
Like I think I'm already seeing it in my world. We've seen it at South by. Like we're watching people kind of pivot. And even in this article, this guy said this has got 3 to 5 years.
So let me read that to you.
Yeah.
So this is the last section of this.
Okay.
The good news is this will all be over soon because something worse is coming to replace it. Just gonna step out a second. Hooray. Okay. Lim recently shut down Floodify after trying to scale too fast and falling behind on deliverables. At one point, the company accidentally posted the same video to 7,000 accounts, which got them all banned. But he wasn't discouraged. When we last spoke, he was building a new company and thinking even further ahead. Quote, all this nonsense is only going to last 3 to 5 more years because in the future, people will stop trusting what they see on social media, end quote. By then, the job will have moved one layer up. Quote, you'll have to start distributing your content toward AI agents, and then they'll teach humans what they want.
I hated that sentence because it is such a dystopian view of AI. So that is ridiculous, number one. I don't doubt that there will be some algorithm or SEO like type functionality to this that we'll have to navigate, marketers and normals alike, right? But I think this idea that social is the great water cooler has been on its last legs since 2016.
Since I think you're making a really good point. Since we proved that maybe getting everyone around the water cooler, including everyone you ever went to high school with your rest of your life.
Oh,
and then everyone you've ever met or worked with, or you met at a garage sale and now you're all friends on social media. And now You like, and then maybe you don't all agree, and we don't need to hear what everyone's opinions are about every single little thing.
Yeah, I think it's jumped the shark a little bit for the normals. And I think you're watching large swaths of people not use it, to be clear, because I think everyone's still using it, but we're just using it very differently. And this is where the clipping comes in, right? Like clipping is a very non-committal, non-confrontational way for humans to interact with a cesspool internet at this point. And so if you don't like it within 3 seconds, you just flip your thumb, right? And then on to the next geese
one.
Don't even register in your brain space.
So we always end each podcast talking about what we're really into this week.
Yeah.
Jenny Swan, what are you really into?
So you were in New York last week, right? So the whole week, which is the longest trip you've gone on since the kids were little teeny tiny humans. And so I had a lot of time. And as I had a lot of time, I tend to gravitate towards me things when you are
Which you
gone.
should.
Because anyone in a long-term relationships knows that like there are just some things that aren't communal. They're just yours, right? So I ended up on cooking, TikTok, Instagram. I ended up on all these cooking things. And so I've always been a fan of Fit Foodie Finds, which is a local Minneapolis like crew of wonderful women who do all sorts of things. So I was cooking a bunch of their recipes. And as I was doing that, my feed changed because that's what algorithms do. And this delightful dad popped up on my feed. And I never listen with my sound on. Never once do I do that. But across my caption said, "Daddy is a poopy pants," while this man was kneading a delightful, colorful bread full of things, right? So it was amazing. And so I stopped and I turned on the sound. This man's account is his bakery business, and it is his 3 little pumpkins narrating his days. And it is the most delightful thing. I can't get enough of it. I watch it all the time. And it has led me to other content creators who have little dudes who are cooking. So I am watching babies cook all the time. And you had sent me previously the little girl. I can't remember her name. Yeah. Literally her and her mom cook. She's like, I don't know, not even 2. And she's just got her hands in everything and she's eating everything. And she's like taking bites out of onions like they're apples. Like as a mom, and it is really, really healing and fun for me to watch parents parent their children through tactical, stimulating things for them. And so watching her have all these tastes and watching her like do caring in the preparation of a meal, because at the end of every meal she goes, "Okay, Dad, dinner's ready." Like that's the shtick at the end. And again, I will post to these influencers. But in my life, cooking with my grandma was a primary source of comfort for me. Like that woman, that house, those things, the way that she made a meal for 30 people. And so you were gone. I have a lot of time on my hands. And so that's what I did this week. So
I love it. Yeah, you played one of those for me last night and I was like, wait a minute. Because the little kid narration was so adorable. It's
precious. It is top tier content, especially for mamas of teenagers. And I am someone who literally I get made fun of because if you have a baby, I will be holding it. I love little people so much. So it really just...
We'll link to it in the show notes on Substack.
Yep.
Well, I was in New York all week.
And
I was working. And also we went to the Webby Awards.
You did.
And also we went to the Silver Anvil Awards. And I went to the new Tom Sachs Gallery exhibition, which was awesome. I went to the Guggenheim and saw a bunch of Kandinskys, which were awesome. But the thing that I'm most loved of the whole week and that I'm bringing back and thinking about how we can do it here was at the one club So it was Creative Week New York last week, and the One Club, which is an advertising organization that I've worked with many times and won their awards and all that stuff, which sounds like a flex, but it's not. It's just like it's an organization.
It's something you appreciate and love and continue to gravitate back towards.
Absolutely. So during their experience, their event for Creative Week, they had them all day, but they had an evening event that was an AI creative challenge where they had creatives on stage with their laptops open, and they spun a wheel, and they got a mini brief, a challenge, which would be like, the Mona Lisa is launching a YouTube prank channel, and then they have a 10-minute clock counting down. They have 10 minutes to make a video ad to promote that channel using whatever they want, using whatever AI tools they want, whatever they're going to use.
Yeah.
And so what is on their screen is blown up on screens all across the room, and there's 150 people watching while a DJ is blaring music, watching these creative people make content using the latest in creative tools, going to YouTube and ripping a track, or like figuring out how they're going to make this image look right. And then, of course, like the AI engines are failing, or it's giving them an image and they wanted a video and they're like, they didn't say that. And like all the things that we're familiar with.
Yeah.
And it was so cool in part because there's a lot of tension right now in the creative community about AI tools.
Oh, for sure.
And about how they were trained and what the future of this will be. And to see 150 people cheering on these two people who are like sweating bullets, and like stuff is messing up, and I was getting sweaty, and
oh my god, it makes me so nervous thinking
Kevin
about it.
Swanpool, who's the president of the One Club, who we have a mutual friend, and I'd done a presentation there before with him, and I told him, I was like, oh my god, this is like work. I'm like I'm feeling bad for them. But then it was bracketed, and by the time it got to the last two people, what they were making was so amazing.
Yeah.
And they got 15 minutes for the last challenge, right? Oh my gosh, an extra 5 minutes. And they hit play on what it is. You've got 150 people just cheering them of like, great job being creative, using emerging tools. And I'm texting my friends and I'm like, we got to create something like this. Because you know what? I think I'd be pretty good at that.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I really want to. And maybe I'd be terrible. But it was so cool. And just what a really fun cap on Creative Week New York, yes, but also just a week of work, and also just celebrating creativity.
Oh, for sure.
And bringing it home was pretty cool.
For sure. What were they using?
Oh my God. So I was surprised because so many of them were using Figma. Most of them were using Google Flow, which is a tool that I'm not necessarily use a lot at all, as well as like Google VO, and like ChatGPT for many GPTs that were built to help them write video prompts that they would then cut and paste into the video prompt engines.
Okay.
They were using tools to save down tracks off of MTV or music videos on YouTube. Imagine, like Van Halen's like Right Here, Right Now, or like you go save that down so that you have a cool pop track underneath.
Yeah.
Some of them are using Suno to make their own music.
Yeah. It's just so interesting to me as a normal human.
Yeah.
Like I would have expected you to say one of the big four. And we're at a point in this where video is in a different platform. And
yes.
so that's what's interesting to me.
Same here. I was sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead. It's
like I was literally taking pictures of the URLs that they were
Yeah.
using, and some of those video engines now, right? Like there's a drop down, and you can pick from. Do you want it to be the VO engine? Do you want to use Haluo? Do you
Yeah.
want to use and of course I've used all of those in different ways, but never for my job. And definitely not with only 10 minutes, and you got to go fast. And then you know what? The internet wasn't super fast.
That was my next question. I love New York City so much. And also, there's janky internet issues everywhere you go.
I
right?
know. So anyway, it was so fun, and I came back inspired, and that makes it worth it.
That's great.
All right. Well, Jenny Swan, where can people find us if they want to watch more than a clip?
Well,
Wait, where should they go to find the clips? How about that? Start there.
The clips are on YouTube Shorts. They are on Instagram and Facebook Reels.
Yep.
They're on TikTok. We have a TikTok account. We would love if everyone would go follow us on TikTok. We're killing on TikTok.
Yeah.
We're on LinkedIn too.
I'm gonna get a shirt that says "I'm killing it on TikTok." Ask me how, and then on the back it'll just say "Ask Jenny Swan." She's doing such a good job, you guys. So
You're
go give
silly.
those videos.
So
loves and
we're on
shares.
all the socials, and we're also on Blue Sky and Mastodon, and
in the Fediverse.
we're in the Fediverse, you guys. We have a third place.
Wow.
We have a third place. And
Substack, and then website's launching this week.
And this week, we are very, very excited to announce that we are launching thecaveproject.co, where hopefully everyone will just have a one-stop shop to pick whatever way you want to imbibe our content.
Does that mean in the next episode you're going to go to thecaveproject.co?
I am. I'm going to say go to thecaveproject.co, and we're everywhere. So go find your social media venue of choice.
Wow.
And have
That's pretty
a
cool.
not beer and imbibe the content. So
Sounds good. See you on the internet.
bye.